The Galactic Federation's combat assessment chamber hummed with quiet efficiency as Admiral Zetha reviewed the holographic displays floating before his compound eyes. Each species in the known galaxy had been catalogued, analyzed, and ranked according to their combat effectiveness. It was a necessary task, one that determined military allocations, defense budgets, and strategic partnerships across 300 civilized worlds. The Krillian warriors held the top position, their chitinous armor and 4 arms making them formidable opponents. The Vexari came second, their telepathic coordination in battle unmatched. The list descended through dozens of species, each with their evolutionary advantages carefully documented and quantified. Oliver Hayes stood quietly in the corner of the chamber, his human frame looking almost comically small compared to the towering aliens around him. He was the first human diplomatic attached to the Federation, a role he'd accepted with enthusiasm 6 months ago. His companion, Lisa Chen, served as the cultural liaison officer, a position that mostly involved explaining why humans did the strange things they did. The rankings are complete, Administrator Zethar announced to the council gathered in the chamber. We have successfully categorized all 312 member species. Lisa leaned toward Oliver, whispering, "Did you notice we're not on that list?" Oliver had noticed. He raised his hand, a gesture that caused several aliens to recoil. Humans often forgot that many species considered raised appendages a threat display. "Yes, attach Hayes." Zethar's translator rendered his clicking speech into flat English. "I was just wondering, Admiral, where do humans fit in the rankings?" The chamber fell silent. Zethar's eye stalk swiveled toward him. "The human species has not been evaluated for combat effectiveness." "Why not?" Oliver kept his tone pleasant, curious rather than confrontational. "Because," the Admiral said slowly, as if explaining to a child, "humans have no natural weapons, no claws, no venom, no armor plating. Your strength is adequate, but nothing remarkable. Your senses are limited to a narrow spectrum. By all metrics, you would rank near the bottom, perhaps above the Plixians, who are essentially aquatic philosophers." Lisa stiffened beside Oliver, but he simply nodded. "I see. Would the Federation be willing to conduct a proper assessment, just for completeness?" The council members exchanged glances, or their species equivalent. Admiral Zethar's mandibles clicked in what the translator rendered as amusement. "If you wish, we can arrange a combat simulation. Standard protocol. You and Liaison Chen will face appropriate scenarios designed to evaluate your species' capabilities." "Perfect," Oliver said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. 3 days later, Oliver and Lisa stood in the Federation's premier combat simulation facility. The massive arena could recreate any environment, any threat scenario. Observers from a dozen species filled the viewing galleries, most of them curious to see what the soft-skinned humans could do. "First scenario," announced the simulation master, a Krillian veteran named Thresh. "Single hostile, mid-tier threat. Engage when ready." The arena shimmered, transforming into a rocky canyon. A creature materialized 30 meters away, a Grath hunter, all teeth and corded muscle. Engineered for the evaluation to be challenging but not lethal. It charged. Oliver and Lisa moved in perfect synchronization, a dance they'd practiced countless times in Earth's military academies. Lisa went low and left Oliver high and right. The Grath, confused by the split target, hesitated for a fraction of a second, long enough for Lisa to slide a metal rod from her belt and jam it into the creature's leg joint. It roared and swung toward her. Oliver was already there, using the creature's momentum against it, redirecting its mass into the canyon wall. The Grath collapsed, stunned. "Simulation complete." "Interesting," Thresh muttered. Scenario 2. Multiple hostiles. Resource-deprived environment. The arena shifted to a frozen wasteland. 5 wolf-like predators appeared, circling. Oliver and Lisa had no weapons this time. No tools, just their wits and the environment. What happened next was later described by the observers as disturbingly creative. Lisa used her own jacket to create a makeshift sling, hurling rocks with surprising accuracy. Oliver started a fire with friction and frozen plant material, something the Federation's database said was theoretically possible but rarely practical. They used the fire to create a barrier, funneled the predators into a narrow approach, and systematically took them down using improvised spears and coordinated strikes. "Scenario 3, Thresh said, and now his voice carried a note of respect. "High-tier threat. Full armament authorized." The arena became an urban war zone. A fully armed Krillian warrior squad materialized, 6 of the Federation's finest, equipped with plasma rifles and tactical shields. The observers leaned forward, This would surely be where the humans fell. Oliver and Lisa vanished into the urban terrain. What followed was a masterclass in asymmetric warfare. The humans didn't fight the Krillians head-on, that would be suicide. Instead, they turned the environment into a weapon. They used reflective surfaces to blind, created noise distractions, led the warriors into ambushes. Lisa demonstrated her marksmanship training, taking precise shots that didn't kill but disabled targeting weapon grips, sensor equipment, joint seals in armor. Oliver moved through the ruins like a ghost, appearing behind enemies, using their own weapons against them, always staying mobile, never presenting a static target. The Krillian, trained for honorable face-to-face combat, found themselves confused and frustrated. One by one, they fell to creative tactics they'd never encountered. When the last warrior went down, the simulation ended. The arena was silent. Then Admiral Zethar stood, his expression unreadable. "I believe," he said slowly, "we need to reconsider our evaluation metrics." Oliver, breathing hard but still standing, looked up at the viewing gallery. "Admiral, you ranked species by their natural weapons, their armor, their physical advantages, but you forgot to account for the most dangerous weapon any species can possess. And what is that?" Attach haze. Desperation married to imagination. Humans didn't evolve with claws or venom or thick hides. We survived by being stubborn, adaptable, and creative. We learned to turn everything into a weapon, every environment into an advantage. We didn't outfight our predators on Earth, we outsmarted them, outlasted them, and outadapted them. Lisa stepped beside him, still catching her breath. "We don't have the luxury of relying on our biology, so we learned to use our minds instead. And honestly, that makes us far more dangerous than any species that can only fight one way." Admiral Zethar was quiet for a long moment, then his mandibles clicked in what might have been a laugh. "Perhaps the Galactic Federation has been very fortunate that humans chose diplomacy first." Oliver smiled, and this time it was genuine. "Admiral, we always choose diplomacy first. But it's good to know that if that fails, we have other options." The combat effectiveness rankings were updated that day. Humans weren't placed at the top, that would have been dishonest. But they weren't near the bottom either. Instead, a new category was created. One that had never existed before: adaptive threat approach with extreme caution. And throughout the Federation, species that had never given Earth a second thought began to pay very close attention indeed.